Welcome back to this edition of the Talk Shop. In Studio 255, I'm Eric Henderson with the Talk Shop and Chelsie Mathews, Albany County Assessor. And this morning's visit, a little bit of information. The 2025 Wyoming legislative session left a lot to be spoke about, a lot to be informed about. What changes bring about for you in your home? Perhaps this morning with Chelsie Mathews will help you in that quest for information and knowledge. Chelsie Mathews, welcome to the Talk Shop.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone.
We have some changes, but we have some last year. Three departments, the Kayla White with the Albany County Clerk Office as our clerk, and Tracy Fletcher in the Treasurer's Office, and you in the Assessor's Office, you united with information meetings, and those were well received throughout. Did you do 4 of those?
We did, yeah.
You did 4 of those in a variety of locations. The next one coming up in 2025. The 29th of April, and that will be at the Albany County Fairgrounds building, 5:30 to 7 p.m. And we have a little preview opportunity here this morning. And Chelsie, what say you? What say you about some of the changes? What are frequently asked questions that are ahead for residents of Albany County?
So I believe most of the questions will be surrounding property tax and all of the different new forms of relief that are available. We're going to modify it a little bit. I think last year we kind of spoke a lot and then left a little bit of room for questions. This year we're going to speak maybe 20-30 minutes, and then we'll have an hour for questions. There are a lot of new forms of relief, and it's really, really confusing. And so I want to leave knowing that people understand what's available to them and know the deadlines and how everything works. So I really want to give a lot of time for that.
The biggest thing to know is that opportunities to save on your tax assessment are available. And what are some of the key qualifications to those receiving those benefits that are intended for the public?
So they're all for residential property. So right now there's nothing for commercial. So really that's the key part, is that it's all for residential property. There's 2 forms that you don't even have to do anything for. One is a cap, so your value can't go up more than 4% from the prior year. I apply that automatically. You don't need to do anything for that. The second one, which is new this year, is called the homeowner's exemption. That's 25% off. And this year, it's applied automatically. No one has to do anything. Everyone gets it. All single-family residential structures get that 25% off. However, next year... That's
irrespective of length of residency in that location or anything like that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Next year, though, that switches to owner-occupied. So next year, you will have to notify my office that it is owner-occupied. I'm still trying to work out how that's going to happen because, with all this relief comes cuts. So I'm down a staff member. I don't know if I'm going to be able to rehire that person. And then next year, I'm going to have over 10,000 people coming in my door telling that they're owner-occupied. So I'm trying to figure out how to streamline that. So more information will come for that for next year.
Does technology help the enhancements of online self-help? Do some of those things ease that burden on the Albany County Assessor's Office?
Absolutely. And that's actually what I'm looking at. I'm thinking I'm going to just put a link on my website where you can complete the form that I need saying that you're owner occupied. Put that in an Excel spreadsheet, and then hopefully I can download that into my system and then apply the exemption.
One thing that we've enjoyed on the Talk Shop is your availability of opportunity, whether I've had that be in your office on location at the Albany County Assessor's Office. Your readiness to meet with the public, most commendable and most appreciated from my standpoint. To request time with you and receive timely response to that. I couldn't be more thrilled with the Albany County government in that regard. I find that is very accessible and very welcome, most appreciated. And so a direct face-to-face thank you on behalf of the Talk Shop and just everyone in general. Know this office makes every effort to let you know where you stand and where you can best benefit, maneuver, manage, and navigate changes that happen and things that are common and will continue on. You talked about benefits that you're already applying.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to change. What leads to the changes that, and without getting into politics and the weeds of politics, but what's the trend in the Wyoming legislative actions that have changed what's been and are going forward? What's been the essential trending for Albany County residents?
Sure. It's been really, really interesting to watch. As you guys all know, starting in about 2020, property values were skyrocketing. We were seeing double-digit increases across the state, and it was hurting a lot of people. And I think a lot of people were speaking out, and they were going to their legislators saying, hey, we need relief, we need change. And so that's really been the focus of our state legislators for the past several years. I've been with the assessor's office for 16 years. I've never seen anything like this, but it's pretty incredible that people can speak what they feel and then our legislators react. That's the point of holding a state position. I think it's really important.
One of the things, how long have you been in the assessor's office, be it as assessor or as an employee serving the assessor? How long have you been involved with Albany County Assessor's Office?
16 years.
And in that experience, how many as assessor?
I'm on my fourth year.
Fourth year, yeah. And 2026 will be an active election year for you as well, right?
Yes.
And throughout the coming weeks, you and Tracy Fletcher, Kayla White will be available through how many information meetings do you have scheduled? Three. One on the 29th is at the Albany County Fairgrounds.
Yes.
The one on the subsequent Tuesday is in
May 6th.
Centennial, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's May 6th?
Yep.
May 6th at the Centennial Valley Library, 5:30 also to 7 p.m. And then the final third and final is at Rock River Town Hall, and that would be what, the 13th?
Yes, May 13th.
May 13th. What's the significance of these three dates in time to any deadlines that might be ahead for Albany County residents not to forget, not to miss?
Yes, so the timing of these was a little complicated. We wanted to make sure it was after legislation so that we could relay the changes that happened, but we wanted to have them before the deadlines for all these reliefs that you have to apply for. And for the veterans and the long-term homeowners, the deadline is the fourth Monday in May. And then there's a property tax relief program, and the deadline for that is, sorry, I can't remember if it's June 2nd or June 5th. I need to look at a calendar, but it's that first Monday in June.
I think it's the second.
Yeah.
The opportunity to recognize the number of forms. You'll have all the forms at each of these information meetings, I presume, ready for folks to grab a hold of or identify as specific to them. Is that accurate?
Yes, absolutely. The property tax refund program is a little bit more complicated, and that's actually ran through the treasurer's office.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what Tracy's plan is on
We'll
that.
We'll visit next half hour with Tracy Fletcher, and we'll follow up on exactly that question and what specific to each office is important for people to know going into these information meetings. And I know during the 2025 legislative session, more than 8 different initiatives were being discussed and battled around, and it's easy for the public, it's easy for people following, more tuned in, more dialed in, more specifically minded to follow these issues, to get lost in the weeds as well. Mm-hmm. So every question's a good question, and we'll take your questions at 307-460-3087. If you should have those, join in the conversation, the talk shop here at Studio 255 with Chelsie Mathews, Albany County Assessor in Albany County, and a lot of good changes for some, but it's going to have an impact. You talked about some of the cuts that are going to be the ripple effect that comes out of this. I know the Albany County Commissioners, they about a month ago were approached by Kayla White, and she requested direction on how different legislative actions were going to be needed to be approached in her office. As there's timelines, statutory guidelines require certain things at different points for public information, for public service. And in each of these areas, what is the assessor's office? What's your timeline? What's been underway for 3 months? Give people an understanding of what you and your office are engaged in doing to prepare for some of these upcoming changes.
Yes, so our biggest statutory requirement is to get our notices of values out in April. And as many of you know, you haven't received those yet. They're actually being mailed out tomorrow. But it's been a long haul, setting values and then applying all these exemptions. It's a brand new process. And so it was a learning curve. And I really took due diligence to make sure everything was being applied correctly and calculating correctly. And so, yeah, notices of values are going out tomorrow.
When you in your office do these, are these decisions appealable?
Absolutely.
And what's the process that somebody might go through or engage with at any time of year? Are there deadlines for those kind of appeals, or what's necessary to know for the general public that have property interests in that way?
So you have 30 days to appeal, and it's 30 days from the date on your notice. So appeals technically will start tomorrow, and then they'll end May 23rd. And that happens every year. But if you have questions and it's outside that 30-day appeal period, I encourage you to still come in. We can be proactive for the following year. If we made a major mistake, we can still correct it. I want people to know that we are available, and my office is great. My staff is well trained. Anyone can help you. We just really want the public to feel comfortable coming in and asking questions.
Do you hear that from government too often? I don't think so.
I would hope so, but probably not.
I believe that you have that sincerely. Your office is open to those conversations, and I'm sure there are a few mistakes, if any, but I appreciate that you acknowledge that they're possible, because I think we're all capable of those type of things. And so many times something may happen. Look at this island, 15 acres that had been surrounded of Albany County land that's been surrounded by city. W Hill, just a current example of how, maybe not a mistake, but it is evidence of how something can go through time, and it can happen, and it can now exist as something that needs to be handled. It's been identified. You have different stakeholders, different people that are interested in perhaps a new path for Albany County and the city of Laramie, and different things come together and work together. The flexibility and the confidence, the candor, the care, and the commitment all leadership qualities that come out of your office, Chelsie, and we thank you for taking time to meet with the public and do these. Have you gotten good feedback? Have you gotten great response from folks last year or going into this year, how to do these meetings with greater value to the public? You seem sensitive to and responsive to people and their ideas. You generate plenty of ideas from that trio of offices actively throughout the year. What's the most significant change? Is it in the format? We're not presenting as much. We're going to present lighter and open ourselves for more questions. Is that learning curve part of feedback or your own feel of what's necessary this year?
I didn't personally receive any feedback about it, us talking too much and not enough time for questions. When I was up there speaking, and I was trying to cover...
Felt like it?
Yeah, I was trying to cover everything that legislation was doing, and it was a lot. And I felt like I was losing people.
Well, you had multiple scenarios, right?
Yeah.
You had several pages. You had several pages of different... What I appreciated about last year was that this decision, given this set of assumptions, could affect our community, our county, in this numeration. This is the algorithm. This is the metric. This is the measure. These are the numbers as we see it. If it's this, if it's X, it's algebra. It was the mathematics simplified, and sometimes that visually is very impactful, but it doesn't go without number of explanations. And you were doing it at a time where some of these things, they were possible, and the different scenarios that were being asked and being considered and bounced about. You guys put a lot of effort into each of those. Now, I don't know if that the calculations were simple, but the impacts are much different. But you guys did it with great care, so it doesn't surprise me. And there wasn't, I don't recall any interruptions while you were going through it. So everything, to me, that means a class tuned in was valuing what you guys were offering. And I think anybody worth it's worth your time to make these sessions. If you're at all able, make one, two, or all three. I certainly try to make these, and I'll make the talk shop present as many of these as possible. But I offer to people, this is not insignificant. It's really, really a valuable opportunity. But your hours are Monday through Friday, and your office fully capable of these questions and any others. And your questions before the 29th may impact the questions that are offered and the information that's made available to everybody else, because it may be the base for a frequently asked question, frequently expected question, and some of that is important to know. 9 to 5 your office hours, or is there adjusted hours? Noon hour? You open noon hours? What's the availability of the Albany County Assessor's Office at this time, Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
And do you take email inquiries? Is there a place on albanycounty.gov, the albanycountywy.gov, the website for all matters county?
You can just email. It's called Assessor Docs at albanycountywy.gov. That will go. It's just an email that goes to everyone in my office, or
So
you
it's
can email
Albany County DOC.
Yeah.
DOCS.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So all the dots and all the I's, all the T's crossed makes a difference when you're addressing these things, and you want to make sure. Do you get a confirmation email back that your inquiry's been received in that regard, or do you just promptly you get a response from your office in 24 hours or something like that? Or
we
what's
respond
the time frame?
pretty quick. If you haven't heard back from us in 24 hours, something's happened.
Inquire again.
Yeah.
Double check your addressing and resend, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And in that, thank you for that, because responsiveness is really valued. It's really important, and sometimes you don't know whether something's getting processed or being handled. And don't be afraid of the World Wide Web, but also know that we have the absolute blessing of the availability of 3 offices that are open to the public, and we'll be visiting with Tracy Fletcher in the Albany County Treasurer's Office next hour, right here on the Talk Shop. Chelsie, Mathews, any closing comments as we end this segment on the Talk Shop?
Just please join us for these town hall meetings. Like Eric said, the first one is April 29th at the fairgrounds.
Chelsie Mathews, today on the Talk Shop. Thank you, Chelsie.
Thanks.